Greetings, adventurers, heroes, and villains, and welcome to Burgschneider Live, your gateway to the realms of Mythodea, epic LARP battles, awesome historically inspired and fantasy clothing. So grab yourself a tankard, ready your gear, and join myself, Nico, Mike, and Emma as we talk about all things Burgschneider.
Yay.
Oh my god! Like it's now like week 2, and we are absolutely consummate pros. Like, I mean, last week, absolute bundles of nerves. This week, like, serious.
We've got it all figured out.
Yeah, you don't even know what's going on here. These new people completely changed. This is our plot progression. And for those of you who are just tuning in to Burgscneider Live, or possibly for the first time, we are just here being a miscellaneous group of people from within the organization who all do various tasks within the organization, and we are talking about what goes on a week-to-week basis within Burgscheider. It may not always be us, but it is for right now. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, it's happy to be there and also sharing all the experience with different colleagues in the company. So I'm really happy with it.
And from all around the world too.
All around the world. What are you trying to say, Mike?
Just saying, we're all from different continents representing.
Wow. Okay, so that's the thing. So that means that I'm from Australia.
I'm half Colombian, half Spanish.
Okay, and
I'm from the US.
really?
I'm from Germany.
Okay, and we are all in Germany,
Yeah.
coincidentally, which is, you know, a thing and a place, and it's the home of Burgschneider. Who would have thought that Burgschneider? Okay, so I have a big question. Last stream, I was all like, Burgschneider, Burgschneider. And I was like picturing Marcus, who's our CEO, who has a shaved head, like Captain Picard from Star Trek, being extermination. Resistance is futile. You must fight us, Burgschneider. But what is the pronunciation of it?
It's Burgschneider.
Burgschneider. Okay, so I had it right, but probably I was emphasizing it a little too much.
Yeah, I think it's exactly.
Okay.
But I think I felt like I was perfectly understanding what you were saying. So
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yes.
Great.
Resistance is futile.
That's
That-
the castle cutters.
Yeah. And absolutely not a subtle hint that we might be doing any Star Trek related merchandise in the future. Absolutely not. Yeah.
We know.
Yeah. But here we are, all together, and we are pretty excited about something that has just come out today on our show, which it was delayed. Like, normally we have a pretty tight cycle with our release schedule with regards to the tickets and the ticket trailers, and the ticket trailers are for our events. So if you don't know, Burgschneider is a company that does historically inspired and fantasy clothes, but they also have an events wing that runs live action role-playing game. What is a live action role-playing game?
Well, should I explain it?
Yeah.
I know I can explain it.
It's basically so it's not a world that you read about or that you see on TV. It's a place that you go and you get to really live this. So you basically get to live the experience. It's a live action role play event.
So it's kind of like being in a computer game, but in the reels, and you can just hang out with people, you can talk to people. There are definitely rules of engagement, so you can't just be absolutely nasty to each other. But within the scope of the rules, there is some scope for play and competition and combat.
How I hear a lot of the people from our event team describe it when they try to describe it to someone who hasn't heard of it is imagine it as improv theater without the audience. So you're
Actually, it's a really good.
right.
Yeah. Intimate theater without the audience. So
Yeah.
we run these events, or at least the event side of Burgscneider or the Realms of Mythodea team. They run these events every year, and some of the events you might have heard us talk about are the Brandywine Festival, that's Middle-earth Enterprises, but then we have the Realms of Mythodea events that are all within our own intellectual property, and the Realms of Mythodea has its own stories and its own world, and it's been evolving in the last few years, and we have our next event coming up, and in order to promote the new events, we do little ticket trailers, which are kind of summaries of the previous events.
Yeah.
So bear with us. Let's just have a quick look together at the Chronicles ticket trailer from last year, from this last year, which means that was like 4 weeks ago. I think.
Yeah.
Basically.
And this is not telling you what will happen at the next Chronicles next year, but this will give you a taste of what it's like to be at an event like
It's like a
this.
little overview about the
Yeah.
what is about the event.
Yeah, and we are live streaming this, so we may say some things while the trailer plays.
Doing the voice from the
Yeah. We're watching this together. Ooh, this is the fire temple. So, a lot of this was about the build up some things to people. Yeah, he's a guy. All the characters within. You know, they put a place to be and be seen.
I love the shot with her in the rain too.
Yeah.
I use that for the thumbnail.
Nice.
Yes.
It looks like a swamp creature.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh yeah, well this is the swamp puppy they call it.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
It's
very
part of the
good.
back.
You see me sneaking in a little bit right there. There you go. Yeah, we had Dale Miller on this one doing the shooting for it, but I put it together. Yeah. Yeah, Dale had a big confrontation. Well, that's one of the things originally told me. So he uses control. What, you tried to put some kind of narrative structure in it?
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah, so she transformed, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
saw her at the
yeah.
beginning, right?
yeah.
Metamorphosis.
Yeah,
And
and,
we're like, hey, I know you.
and that was it.
I like it.
That
I
was
like
it.
it.
Yeah, so what we were trying to do, I was trying to do with this one in particular, was like a little bit of a summary of kind of what the core narrative principles were, which was, okay, so the briefest summary about the narrative around this was there was a quarry in which there was stone, which the fire people needed to make a temple. And then there was the same quarry in which there was stone from which the Black Dynasty, from which the big guy with the crown and the face makeup, were mining to make some kind of new device that was unnamed. And some people may have found it out during the course of the game, but we're not going to leak those spoilers. And so it was a conflict over the same resources. But there were also these subplots where there was that pestilence lady with the big swamp puppy. She was enchained and kept captive by the Black Prince, and also there was the Dragonfly Queen, who was, from what I can tell, going through some kind of mid 3000 millennium of existence crisis, where she transformed from one state where she was also enthralled and or controlled or indebted. I'm not sure exactly what the relationship was that she had with the Black Prince, but she was definitely in a place where he was in control of the situation. And then she went through a process where she betrayed him and united with the Fire Tribe to transform into this other version of Lobelin, of the Dragonfly Queen. And now she's taken on the element of Ignis and is this crazy fire dragonfly. Yeah, and I think that storyline is going to be resolving at JDS, but that gives you a sense of what Chronicles is like. Chronicles is a battle LARP with lots of drama and lots of activity going on, but the set piece of Chronicles is always a conflict. It's like a spring campaign, right? Or is it summer, autumn, winter, spring? Yeah, spring.
And JDS, that's another event of ours. That's where that plot will find its like resolution, right?
Yes. So JDS. So I think we do, as in the organization and the plot team, manage 4 events with key plot every year, and Chronicles, JDS, Conquest, Sturmwacht, and then there's also the Grosse Ball. But that's also kind of like Mythodea Prom.
Yeah, true.
And also, it's called JDS because it's Jenseits der Siegel,
Okay.
and
Jenseits
that's
der Siegel.
beyond the seals in English.
Okay.
And the Grosse Ball is like the grand ball.
Both amazing events and super fun. And mostly JDS is a player-driven event, but this particular plot, I believe, will be resolving or continuing at that event. So, if you're going to be there, hang out, have fun, keep an eye out for all the dragonflies to be wandering around. But in particular, jump in and get your tickets for Chronicles next year.
Yeah.
So all of the places that you saw were at the same location that we run JDS. And that's because we are actually moving with Chronicles next year. This is why there was a delay, because it took a while for us to sign the contract and finally confirm. We actually wanted to talk about this last week, but we hadn't finally got the ink on paper. Like, all of the talks had gone through, but we didn't have absolute confirmation of the
So
location.
now it's official.
Now it's official. Yeah. Now it's official. And oh my goodness. Hasenheide? Hasenheide. So Hasenheide is beautiful. I had the amazing opportunity to go there with one of our beautiful logistics people, Eva, and we walked around the location. It's so cool. So it's like a Boy Scout camp with an equestrian school on premises. So there are some big open fields in which tournaments and activities can take place, but then there's lots of camping grounds, there's lots of open areas where conflicts can happen. The whole space is relatively close. It's very good for camping. So in a lot of these bigger LARPs that we play, you will go camping in a tent on the LARP. So unlike Sturmwacht, which is, I think, one of the only ones where we have preset accommodation, or at Conquest, which is our biggest event, where you can actually hire a tent hotel. So if you're coming from overseas to play in these games, you can have that kind of accommodation set up for you.
Yeah, exactly. And the tent hotel is an accommodation that we provide where we have tents that are all already accessorized, or like there's a bed there's a sleeping bag and a little box that you can put your stuff in, so you don't have to take anything when it comes to like bedding and sleeping
We
arrangements.
just basically provide the main needs to the people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and also we you just don't have to fill up your backpack with those things. But if you get in early for Sturmwacht, which is in a big castle that's also a hotel and has a hotel, there are 2 types of rooms there where they have like real proper hotel rooms. You don't have to bring anything. You just rock up with your costume, play the game, and everything's there. But then if you get in, they always sell out first. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, go get your Sturmwacht tickets. Fancy rooms. But the dormitory rooms that they have at Sturmwacht are also really nice.
Yeah.
And they have some bedding there, and you can get towels. But I think generally, like, you'll bring your favorite pillow, you'll bring your like
Your personal stuff. It's something that you feel comfortable. We should provide you main needs. Everything is provided. Everything is gonna be there. Just make your just all the stuff you make you feel comfortable. Of course, customs, makeup. That's it. It's everything fine. You don't have to be too stressed. Also, it's a gigantic thing or stuff like that, or it's very heavy. Be soft. Make your life easy.
Yeah.
The rest we're gonna provide as much as we can.
Yeah.
So this is not, however, the case at Chronicles. And at Hasenheide,
Hasenheide.
okay,
That was really good.
Hasenheide, they have so they have a nice big clean area with big boulders for the Trost and the town, which will be really interesting because normally the Trost area or the town area where you have like stores and facilities, sometimes hot tubs and saunas, isn't usually very big, but at Hasenheiser, they have a really good spot for it, and it's really easy to get vehicles in and out of the location. So I think we'll see a bigger Trost at Chronicles next year. Also, the camping for the NSCs or non-player characters is really good, and it's all established camping grounds. There's a big camping area for players as well for in-time camping. In-time being, because when you're playing these events, it's like 3 days, sometimes 4 days, where you're in time or in character or playing the story for the whole time. And they do have out-of-time areas, so you can go and get a break, or you can always go back to your tent and just have that quiet time. And I need that myself.
Yeah.
But mostly in time means it's in time, like historical style tent or fantasy inspired accommodations that you will bring with you or work with friends or NSC groups to be in. But one of the beautiful things about the new location is that they have a lot of forest that is private land that has the undergrowth cleared out of it. So there's a lot of play that can actually take place inside of these forested areas. And it's really magical. It feels like absolutely like magical forest adventure. I'm so looking forward to just being in the environment. And then there's the one place that is absolutely my favorite spot on the whole location is that one of the people who own the property are a dirt bike enthusiast. So they've made this area, and mostly the whole area is flat. It's not very hilly, but they have some artificially generated hills. So this guy who's made this dirt bike area has made all these artificially generated hills, but he must have done this 10 or 15 years ago because he's let trees grow back over it. So it's like this entirely forested area of rolling hills, no higher than 5-6 meters each, that just sort of roll up and down. So you have lots of sight lines that are blocked as you maneuver through these areas. It feels very The Shy.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
If this location works out, and if we do end up doing a Hobbit, a Middle-earth Enterprises in Germany next year, then I feel like it's a prime location, but it's also just a prime location for any kind of factions, player character factions. So often when you go to these events, you'll go with friends and player character groups. But if you have some kind of magical stuff going on, it's very magical. And Chronicles next year is going to be in Sarkhan, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's in the new world, and I think the theme for it is hunting the Nocturnals. So it's going to be a storyline that revolves around the dragon hunters, the Drachenjäger, and the Nocturnals. And I think it might be one of the first times that we see the Nocturnals in a big capacity. We might see them a little bit at Sturmwacht next year because all of the new factions will be there. But I know that they're not one of the featured factions at Conquest of Mythodea this year. So we have a bunch of new NSC factions that are coming into the Realms of Mythodea lore.
Oh, and the NSC, those are non-player characters. So those are people that are there. Actually, we don't really say NPC. We say that they're playmakers because they really enhance the whole experience of it.
And there are two types. There are directly antagonistic or sometimes fighting NSCs or NSC or non-player character armies or playmaker armies.
And these are, for example, the Undead Flesh or the Skargan or the Black Dynasty, which we were already talking about.
That's right. Or there are what they call the player interactive, or I wouldn't say player interactive because these factions, the fighting factions, the antagonistic factions are also interactive, but the player kind of neutral factions, the player neutral factions in Sarkhan are the people representing the established dynasties and kingdoms and empires and power structures inside of Sarkhan, which is the new land in Mithraspira that the whole game, or the new game in Mythodea, the new land in Mythodea that the whole game is moving into this year at Conquest. So we'll see the Nocturnals for the first time at Sturmwacht next year in February, but in Chronicles, the plot kind of revolves around them and the Drachenjäger. So we'll see them having like a lot of play, and they are interesting. Actually, I don't want to talk too much about them because we are over the next sort of 6 weeks or so going to talk about each faction individually and ask questions.
More detail.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that a little later.
Yeah,
But
because if we continue like this, it's gonna be like this crazy meal. You're gonna be like
Yeah,
chaos
exactly.
for every party.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think here there's going to be a bit of a spooky atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. I mean, look, Nocturnals, they're a little spooky.
Yeah.
I mean, they live in the dark. They live in a city called Noctera. I've already said too much.
To be continued.
But if you had a really nice time at Chronicles, or you just want to support and represent and show your interest, jump online. There is some Chronicles of Mythodea merch that is up at the moment. It looks a whole lot like this. So these t-shirts, I believe there's a couple of types of t-shirts. There are the ordinary t-shirts for a very reasonable price. There are the premium t-shirts that are a little more expensive. These are, I believe, the acid wash t-shirts that
Yeah.
Nico's wearing at the moment. They're a little more durable. They've got a nice look to them. This one is from Sturmwacht.
Yeah. We were wearing, like when we were at the RPV, we all
We
were
were
wearing
Chronicles
these
3.
t-shirts. Exactly, we were all wearing these t-shirts, and I have to say they're really comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 They look really,
Surprising, right?
yeah,
It feels really solid too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I like it. I love it because it's like, I prefer, because I'm always taking like plus size than my regular feet. So this was really comfortable. Also, I already put it in the battlefield a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Suits
It's
perfect.
battle worn. You can wear it under your clothes.
Yeah.
People don't understand.
It's-
You know?
You want the hoodie of that too.
Yeah.
I got the hoodie. Yes.
Yeah. But it's so this is an experimental process that we're in with the merchandise. We've had some very limited pieces of merchandise over the years, like t-shirts and stuff like that. But now we're trying to do merchandise for most of our events and exploring it. It's definitely been a hit and miss, and we're trying out a few different companies. You may have noticed that some of the first price tags on some of the first release products were a little here and there. But I feel like we're starting to narrow it down now. So we've got a select group of products where you can definitely get, you can definitely, oh, Eva! Hi, Eva.
Hi, Eva.
Oh, and hi, Luna. How are you? Luna, I will bring you Pokemon cards. It's happening. I swear.
Oh, Luna's watching too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Luna is our wonderful events logistics person, and Luna is their amazing and always inspiring child
Yeah.
who comes around and plays in games and is a great mascot. But back to the t-shirts. Yeah, it's a process. We're getting there. I feel like we've got a nice selection of products now so that you can get the premium ones, but you can also get the cheaper ones. If you want to hassle people about products that you'd like to see, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about like what's on the shirt, like what it's representing?
This one,
Yeah.
you want to know about this one? Okay, so we talked previously about the Black Prince and conflict between the Black Prince and the Ignis tribe. So the Ignis tribe had previously occupied this great temple, this great Grecian temple, and the Ignis being fire people. And the fire people who were native to the old continent, to Mythospira, which is where the game has been set for the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
So they were trying to build this temple, and they were in conflict with the Black Prince for resources to make this temple happen. And not just the resources, the physical resources to build this temple, but also the spiritual resources and the people resources in the Pestilence Priestess and the Dragonfly Queen. So on many levels, this was a conflict. And so when the amazing artist Cephalopede put this particular image together, they were trying to represent that particular conflict. And, drama, much drama. and show because the event really featured quite heavily. There was an amazing turnout at the event, like we said last time, from some of the other NSC, the non-player character factions, the battle factions. So the Skargan were an amazing turnout. The Undead Flesh were an amazing turnout. But it was all coming together to support the push that the Black Dynasty were making. And the Black Dynasty, they really turned out for Chronicles. The plot was about them, and it was so impressive to see them at work.
Really nice. And the image of the person we're seeing on this T-shirt is the same guy who we saw in the trailer, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the white face makeup and the crown and the big armor, being nasty, the dragonfly queen, the evil man.
It all connects.
Yeah. All connects, it all comes together.
Like
So if you want to bring the adventure home with you, grab yourself a t-shirt. Just so that you know, we are running limited runs of all the t-shirts. So an event t-shirt will only be available for a 12-month cycle, sometimes a little less, and then it will be replaced with the new event t-shirt that comes out afterwards because, change is good.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you get it for this year, then you will have it and nobody else will.
Then it's a good time to start to collect it.
Very true.
I'm the kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Okay, you already saw that. I got all the collection for events.
Yeah, exactly. All the team shirts.
Yes,
and,
I got team shirts for 2017, if I know. No, 16. I'm lying. 16. So since that, I sometimes friends when I don't have the opportunity to go, my friends just like, hey, that's a present.
Nice.
But I got this gigantic connection for.
So you got one from every year since then?
Correct. Also
That's
for
great.
Chronicles and Zodiac.
Yeah.
That's a collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been around that long.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Johnny Come Lately.
And now you can add this one to your collection.
Yes, now it's gonna add it more. It's
All
gonna be
the
like
Mythodea
more.
shirts.
I love it. Like I'm into this kind of thing. It's also super comfy clothes.
Yeah,
So I'm the kind of guy
exactly.
to buy super comfy. So I like it.
You have a whole wardrobe full of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna have to take a moment to take a little apology for last week when we did our first stream. Just before we did our first stream, actually, we were updating the YouTube channel, and we realized that there were a whole bunch of videos that were unlisted that we would actually like listed, and that caused I think 20 notifications to
A
happen.
bit of a notification storm. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we didn't know that it would do that actually when we would just simply make it listed again.
We may seem like consummate professionals, especially after last week when we were absolutely. But we are also just stumbling through this process, just like you guys.
So yeah, growing weeks.
But that was the series from the rules for the events. So
Yeah.
if you haven't seen them, you should be notified by now about them.
Yeah, and basically the decision that we made when re-releasing those is we first took them down because we were so ambitious about getting a new series of rule videos coming up, and we are working on them because we want to really, as we go into Sarkhan and we engage new audiences and we turn Conquest into what is truly an international LARP. And when we say international LARP, we mean
All over the world.
all of
Yeah.
what it generally means is that English is the common language.
Yeah.
So yes, it's in Germany. Yes, most of the players will be German, but it is expected that in an international LARP, you should be accommodating as much as possible English-speaking players and use English as the main through-line language. And some of our smaller LARPs are definitely more local, but Conquest is our big set piece.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the first step. I'm glad as a person to be running these kind of events for so long. So now I can express to myself, to the people, that actually is way easier. So you're more than welcome also with open arms to receive also feedback for international players. Also international NPCs, you're more than welcome to speak to us and also bring his own experience or which kind of part is going to be
Also
more flexible.
differently abled people, because we really like as a group of people who run and play games, we are working within our own communities, but as we start to branch out and through exercises like this where we're creating like a public face and a bit of accessibility, we're also very open to talking with other communities. So if there are differently abled people from other communities who want to come in and we can do anything to help build or foster those communities within the game, we're absolutely open to building a discourse and trying to facilitate that as much as possible within the scope of the game.
We are really, really happy to have conversation and just came to us meeting. If you are able also to came here, please come speak to us. We are happy. We're happy to speak. I think for one of the main reasons that I enjoy this team is just because we wanted to make all events open to the people and make to the people just run to the different events and enjoy it. Enjoy the experience.
Yeah,
That is the thing. That's like my period. You just enjoy the experience. It is a wonderful hobby. It is a wonderful time to meet people and make friends.
Yeah.
Everyone is welcome.
Yes, everybody's welcome. I'm really happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to jump in and surprise you all with a little slideshow, because we have been very excited about what happened at RPV.
That's RPV, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we talked about it a little last week, but this week it's even. So it's been a little while, but we are. These are pictures from the event gallery that we are creating on Scald, and it will be a complimentary events gallery. So normally, if you come to any of our live action role-playing events that are run through the Realms of Mythodea, or the Realms of Mythodea games, we have like professional photographers who work at the event. Oh, I'd also like to say a special mention that it was really great to see Luna at RPV in all of their amazing costumes.
Yeah.
Like, super cool. I haven't seen any pictures of her yet, but if they turn up,
Yeah.
We will
absolutely
show. We will
jump.
show.
Yeah.
So the pictures that you're seeing at the moment are from RPV, and they are just like environmental people in cool costumes. And all of these pictures, and this is just from one gallery, which is the miscellaneous gallery, but there will be, I think there are 5 or 6 other galleries. Yeah, cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes me very happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're, and these are all done by our amazing photographer, Krista. Who worked really, really hard through the event to try and capture. Yeah, Christoph Rees was the photographer, worked really hard through the event to get all of these pictures going. He worked with us as well in the booth early. Toba!
Also, Valerie was there too.
Yeah, nice.
Caitlin.
Yeah, Valerie, very, very cool people. To get all of these images and just capture the feel of RPV.
Yeah, this is all the environment and all the experience we got. People.
Oh, this was the booth,
Yeah.
Travel Center.
And
Yay.
that's in the flesh too.
Yay! These are the flesh swords as well. So this is Max
Yeah,
and Lena.
That looks amazing.
Yeah. And this was the retro gaming section. So
Yes.
when you first came in, right behind us where the Burgschneider live booth was,
Yeah.
there was this big retro gaming like table where you could just go and play like one of, I think, 20 or 30 consoles that was set up.
Yes.
Yeah, we played Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, we
Right.
play a lot. We play Miss Pac-Man. We got Taken. It's all the generations. I think for I don't know how many it was, but it was basically since Nintendo 64. I think Commodore, all the generations until PlayStation 2.
Yeah, A Link to the Past was
Really?
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
There was a lot of games. A lot of that was
Damn.
wonderful time to be there.
Damn, I missed the opportunity to play on one of those things.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was super
I
cool.
wish I
I got
did.
that experience.
Yeah.
And also
And it's so cool to see people in all these costumes as well, just sitting there playing the
Absolutely.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they had like role playing, they had like Pegasus Spiel, and there were a bunch of other representatives from very
This is
cool,
super
from
cool.
different groups. There were representatives from different LARPs, because RPV, right, is this really cool hybrid between tabletop gaming and LARPing, right? So there was all these cosplayers there, and then there were all these LARPers there, and it was just this really cool melting pot.
Like a chimera, yeah.
Yeah. And then tabletop gaming as well, right?
Yeah.
I think Donor House is another group that was there who were representing, doing a bunch of pen and paper games. And then there were lots of indie pen and paper creators. Like if you jump into the website still lists for RPV all of the people who exhibited, and it really is a great grab bag of lots of independent creators and artists. Like it's awesome, such a great vibe, such a great experience. Oh, that's our stall. Yeah,
Yeah, it was such a lovely experience. I was
Absolutely.
really happy to be
Yeah.
there. It was like,
I just always really enjoy just the general atmosphere in RPV. It's just so happy, and everyone's just happy to be there, and everyone's very like-minded and just there to have a good time.
Mhm.
And it's just so heartwarming. I feel like that's the best word I have to describe how I feel about RPV. It's very heartwarming.
Yeah, being at RPV is like being in a giant hug.
I was feeling like a little kid being in
Yeah.
Dreamland.
Okay, but this is your first time at RPV, right?
Yes, it was my first time. That's why I'm so excited about this,
Yeah.
because it was a completely whole experience. That's why I was so happy, because I feel like it's been really, really long time that I feel like that, like a little child just going in a dreamland, going like, hey, I know this, and also
Yeah.
that people have everything in common.
Yeah, exactly.
And people are like, I don't know, I just speaking with random people, and it's like, hey, dude, you know so about this? And hey, this is super cool. Let's play together. And it was
Yeah.
really, really, really wonderful.
Yeah, cool. And also, it's not just a lot of the shots that you saw were from inside. So there's a whole other gallery that's from all of the medieval market that was run outside,
Yes.
all the food vendors. They had a stage
Exactly.
with music
Yeah.
and people playing like till late. I think they were going till midnight on the main night.
In the Rotten Raptors section.
Oh, Rotten Raptors, yeah, they're like
Yeah.
a post-apocalypse. I don't even know if they're a LARP or they're just an immersive experience
I
or
can't
they're
say
a
either.
phenomenon. Like,
Yeah.
what even are the Rotten
All
Raptors?
There was
Yeah.
everything in one place. It was
I always
wonderful.
understood them to be a LARP, but I don't know for sure, and it's a mystery.
Okay.
It's a complete mystery.
Mystery.
What it is an experience.
Exactly.
You really feel like you're stepping into their world when you go in that little section
Right.
there, because it's like this post-apocalyptic, like there's like vehicles and
Yeah.
it's
Okay, so
cool.
just to put it all in context, RPV is a event that happens once per year at Oberhausen in the Turbine Hall. And in the Turbine Hall, it's like this big Soviet era industrial building. It's like got this complex of tunnels underneath it.
It's
Yeah,
essentially
access it.
yeah.
And it
Yeah.
adds a lot to the experience.
And then
yeah.
and inside of the hall, there's like this crazy nightclub area where all
Yeah.
the Star Wars cosplayers are hanging out. There's a hall set up for like artist alleys, independent role players. There's a whole stage set up just for presenting pen and paper actual play games. You can see people play a lot of games
Yeah.
that you might not have played before, and board and card games. And then they have presentation areas there as well. And then you go outside, and then there's the whole medieval market. And then outside as well, there is this cordoned off area where the Rotten Raptors are, and they have this post-apocalyptic Mad Max style, and they have like little buggies that they drive around.
That's super amazing.
And-
And also, there was like a band. I saw them a couple of times on a stage. That guys are amazing.
And the flamethrowers.
The bands,
The
yeah,
flamethrowers.
the
Yeah.
flamethrowers. Yeah, they were going crazy. So RPV, yeah, it's a fun experience, and it's very, very, very community focused. But you know, it leaves me with this lingering question
Oh no.
as we come out the other end. Okay.
What might that be?
Oh, it could be anything, but it's the question of LARP versus cosplay. What is the difference? Okay, and I obviously ask you, the audience, as well. But what is the difference between LARP and cosplay? What are the things you look for in a LARP over a cosplay? LARP being live action role playing, where you're engaging, and or cosplay. They're different parameters. What do you think, Mike?
So I think, like, from how I've always understood it, and I could be mistaken, is that a cosplay, you're usually playing like an existing character from an established universe, and it doesn't always. So, for instance, there's original characters in an established universe. Like I'm playing my own character I created that exists in the Legend of Zelda universe. That I would call that more of a cosplay than a LARP, whereas a LARP is really more. This is your character that represents you. But then I don't know, because it gets a little complicated, because we have the world of Mythodea, which is a world created for LARP. So Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of a philosophical
And
question.
also, there's LARPs that take place in already established universes. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
there is a Hogwarts LARP or a Witcher LARP.
That is
Mhm.
exactly that's the things that I'm kind of agree slash disagree. Like consider my personal perspective, yeah, because I'm a LARPer, not cosplayer. Yeah,
Yeah.
To make
So-
that clear.
make that clear. First, as a view, as some friends explained it to me, cosplayer is an adopted, existing character. Let's give us an example very easy. We continue with the Legend of Zelda. Yeah, the classical Link. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're taking that character and you represent that character. That's as far as I understand is cosplay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Please don't kill me. Also, very often to people explain me what is exactly cosplay is, but this is exactly my friends basically turn to me. Ahora speaking Spanish. Now, LARP. That is a difficult thing because LARPing is building your own character in an already built world. You're
Yeah.
taking part on it and
Yeah.
you're playing as you consider it, or you build your own character.
Absolutely. And I feel like one aspect that LARP has that I don't really see in cosplay as much is the fact that you're trying to develop a story and you're trying to develop your character. While as a cosplayer, you might like act the way the character you're representing would act, but you're not trying to really experience a story with that character or get somewhere with that character, have a journey or something like that.
And this is also very interesting because now I put in that certain point. Okay, you're taking a character back to the Link. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take the Link, you make the cosplay about Link, and now you go to play in a universal of the Legend of Zelda. So
Yeah.
actually you're cosplayer? No, you're LARPing.
Can you repeat that?
So if you're Link, you're
Yeah.
representing Link. You dress up as a Link,
Mhm.
and then you go to the Legend of Zelda universe. So-
Yeah.
And you get playing
Yeah.
that character. It means Link. You
Mhm.
wearing a cosplay
Mhm.
into that world. My question is, you are cosplaying or LARPing?
That's a good question, but that's a good question.
But what if I play Link's evil twin brother that was separated at birth?
Because you. Okay, you win. You win.
Okay, so my opinion as a LARPer
Yeah.
who is also a cosplayer,
Oh,
Okay.
and I'm not talking with absolute authority. Everyone's got their own interpretations, but I feel like the main difference between a LARP and a cosplay is in a LARP, you're walking into an environment where other people are making stories for you to interact with that may or may not go with the character vision that you have, but that your character finds. So in a LARP, you play a character, you walk into this constructed environment, and then you discover plots and you interact with them. Whereas, and sometimes in a LARP, the plots that you discover are the friends that you meet along the way. And you go in and sometimes you don't even find, especially at big LARPs, you don't even find the plot that is being written by the game designers,
Absolutely.
but you bring your own plot to the game as a LARPer. That's like part of the experience. Like as well as experiencing other plots, you also have your own plot. So you're a little puzzle box that other people can unpack, right? And then other people are puzzle boxes that you can unpack. And then when you meet each other, you turn into this great katamari of ultimate destruction, of plot and awesomeness, and sometimes magical song and beautiful memories. And then sometimes you also find the plot that is being made by the event organizers.
and then it's like, wait, there is plot.
But in cosplay, when you're cosplaying and going to cosplay events, especially because there's so many variants, like people definitely will be, I'm going to be this character, I'm going to cosplay as this character, and I'm going to costume play, being I'm in costume and play as the character. Okay. And then they'll meet other people who are in those characters, or other people from the same universes, and they might have meetups with those people in the same universes, and they might play out scenes. But then there's so many people who have variations on these, and they're like, I'm going to be an anthropomorphized version of a Pokemon. I will be Flareon, and you can be the Clefairy. Like, I really wanted to do this like rockabilly version of Clefairy. The hair. Like, I'm doing it right now. I just need to get my hair dyed. Just you wait. Subscribers, if we get to 4,000 subscribers in the next month, then this is going pink.
I feel like so LARP is a bit more like a sandbox, I kind of think. Like the sky is really kind of the limit.
Yeah, whereas cosplay is open world. There is no limit in cosplay.
Yeah.
You're limited only by everyone you meet. I guess in a cosplay, you're not playing within, there's no extraneous plot that's being made by event organizers. You're exclusively making the plot. And you still do that in LARP, right?
Yeah.
It's a forum specifically for doing that. And the other thing is that you have to wear the LARP costumes for 3 days straight.
Oh, yeah.
So there are comfortability issues, and I
Yeah.
feel that like sometimes like there are some costumes that definitely I have made that will only be serviceable for a single photo shoot, and I would not even want to wear them to a convention.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
That's fair.
Yes. I mean, I'm not cosplayer, but as a LARPer, I got the experience in latex. That's why I never use latex anymore, but it's personal experience because I got this allergy thing.
Oh
No latex for Nico.
Yeah, no latex for me. So it was
Okay, only vinyl.
yeah.
Make sure you buy vinyl armchairs for Nico.
Yeah. And also I use textiles. I comfy with that and gambits. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so you don't mind sweating.
No.
Okay, cool.
I already sweaty, dude. So I just open the fridge. I'm already sweaty, so it's no problem.
So I guess this has been a long way of going around, coming to the point that you can go and see the Skull Gallery. It'll be released later this week. And normally we will have a 4-week ban where you have to buy access to these events because there's lots of professional photographers taking amazing things. And you can, if you want them instantly, you can pay $7. You can get those photos for €5 or something. You get those photos straight away, or you just wait 4 weeks and then you get them for free. But for RPV, we are just putting those up for free in the Skull Galleries. They will be available online, hopefully by the end of the week. And you'll be able to find yourself, download your pictures, share them with your friends, all that kind of great stuff.
Yeah. And tell us about us.
Cool. Which is cool. Yeah. It's so cool. And like, thanks again for Christoph for all the photos. Like, really amazing job. Like, single-handedly took all of those photos in the gallery that's going up.
Yeah, he's amazing guy, and also working with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Really nice guy too.
Yeah.
And it was we saw a lot of people, and you saw some of the events, some of the pictures from the tourist booth recruitment center that we had going on.
Yeah.
Recruiting people for NSC factions for Realms of Mythodea, because NSC factions are non-player character factions or playmaker factions, which are either antagonistic factions or friendly factions, are often, sometimes always, open for people to play in. And the benefits of being a non-player character player are that you'll get a cheaper ticket. Sometimes if you're in the antagonistic factions, you'll have a private camping area that's separate to the in-time camping area, so you can actually camp with out-time tents, which sometimes is a little more accessible for people. If it's their first time LARPing, it's easier to just bring a tent that's a modern tent that they borrow, and they can be an NSC, and then they can camp somewhere else, and it doesn't matter so much about that in-time experience, and they can still have their in-time experience. They just don't have to do that while they're camping. And sometimes they'll get discounts on items as well. But as we move into Sarkhan, we're going to be doing some, I might have teased this earlier in the episode, but we're going to be doing some preliminary, I would say, shallow dives. So they're deep-ish dives.
Yeah.
Because we still don't know all the information about these particular factions. But today we're going to talk about one of the new factions from Sarkhan. So as we previously explained, when we play in these live-action role-playing worlds in the realms of Mythodea, we have previously been in the world, or in the continent of Mythospira, which has been isolated from the world by a magical mist for 20 years, as long as anyone can remember, as long as the game's been going. Now, that mist is starting to break down, and very few people, in fact, it was Conquest last year, a small group of people sacrificed themselves and said, we will not appear in the game for an entire year in any of the events, and their characters just retired for that entire time. And then they came out of the mist. I think it was 23. They went away, and in 24 they came back with all this information about the new world. Okay, and the new world, Sarkhan, that we're moving into, is populated by new NSC factions. So behind the scenes, there have been all of these plots playing out and being designed and worked on by the design team. And in particular, the faction that we're going to look at today are the Vibalier. Now, the Vibalier are one of the important factions because they're one of the first factions that the players will run into when they come into the world, because they will be coming into a place called the Bone Reach, which is populated by all kinds of strange legacy artifacts, the bones of giant unknown and unnamed creatures that have been left behind.
Nobody knows what it's about.
Could be anything,
Yeah,
you
no
know.
one knows.
But the Vibalier are a nomadic people that live in these wastes. And we actually have some pictures of these because we did a beta test of all the new factions in the new world late last year, towards the end of the year. And so we have a little slideshow, and these are what the people, I think there were maybe 15 people, 15 people who put some costumes together for these factions, for this particular faction, for the Vibalier. Now, as you can probably tell from some of these images, these are people who are very close to nature, very earthy, lots of greens and straw, and they're very in touch with the land. They do lots of rituals, and they are trying to revitalize the areas that they experience, that they're in the Bone Reach. The Bone Reach is a desolate place. And from what I understand about the Bone Reach, it also has fungus and fungus spores that can make it kind of a bit dangerous sometimes. And the Vibalier are trying to get rid of these fungus spores to kind of cleanse the place and reclaim it. But then there's maybe like I don't know if you know that like folk horror is in vogue. I mean, for me, it was always like Wicker Man and Midsummer and other things. But there's a new film that came out recently that was very folk horror-y. I don't know. Anyway, it's out there. You guys can throw it up in the chat. Let us know all about it. Those ideas of, hey, we're nice, happy hippies, but maybe there are some sinister undertones going on.
Yeah,
And darker beneath the surface.
Maybe.
They're working for fun.
Maybe,
So at least
maybe
you need
not.
to be friendly with them.
Yeah. Well, look, they are the Bone Reach is a desolate wasteland, and so you can absolutely, it's a risky place. You got to be careful when you're there. But these guys, they have a very particular aesthetic, and I was actually very lucky to be a part of the design process of doing some inspirations for these people. Now, obviously, they've gone their own direction with it, but we have a little slideshow where we're looking at some of the design drawings so you can see kind of the history. So this is actually the first one that came out, and this is a few of the factions. And in that one, there was the top left was the Vibalier in their original incarnation, but then they kind of evolved into sort of this kind of a bit more farming folk. They're wearing the aprons. They've all got the customized aprons. So again, this is the one in the top right corner. You can see that the original incarnation, they had a bit more of like a settler vibe with like the longer tunics. And then in this one, they sort of evolved to be a little more fitted. And you know, they're really just happy people, right?
And it's so cool to see the original inspiration for them and where it went from there and how it developed. That's so interesting.
Yeah, because ultimately, like this, like we were saying with like cosplay and stuff before, like people are, and LARP particularly, people are making their own characters and their own stories and their own interpretations. All we can do is give them sort of a frame of reference, and then they're like, oh, cool, I can see how that works, and then I'm gonna make my own thing with it. And the cool thing for me as a designer is then seeing how people take that and going, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to now take inspiration from what you guys have done and bring that back into the designs. And we haven't yet got into that phase. But that's what will evolve over the next sort of like 6 to 12 months.
It's a co-creation process, essentially.
Yeah, with the community, which is so
Yeah,
cool because
Absolutely.
it's so cool to see what the community come up with, what they build, where they go with it, and like all those different elements.
But just the ingenuity people have is what is the most impressive to me. Like what people think of and how they make certain things happen. And
Yeah. 100%.
Which is super cool. But yeah, so unfortunately for this year, the Vibalier are full. So there is a quota with some of the new NSC factions, particularly for this year as we go into Sarkhan. So you won't be able to play Vibalier this year, but there are definitely some openings in
But-
some...
That's actually exciting. That
Right?
that whole faction is already like there's so many people
Uh-huh.
who are interested in that faction and said, hey, yeah, I really want to play this. That's kind of exciting to me.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 to 30 players or something like that, which is like crazy. But like this is at Conquest where they're coming, and Conquest
Yeah.
is a live action role playing game with like up to 10,000 players. So the way that it'll work is this is why also we need so many NSC factions, because an NSC faction with 20 to 30 players can have play with like 200 to 300 people, and then those people can talk to other people about the play that they've had, and hopefully that'll have an impact of about 1,000 people. And with 10 NSC factions, then we can cover all of that ground. But I think it was like almost 12,000 people at Conquest last year.
I think 11, 12.
Yeah,
It's too many people.
it was a
it's a
record.
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
it was a record. It keeps
Yeah.
growing. It is the thing. And the big thing that I have discovered about playing LARPs and LARPing over the years is when you create a stable recurring event and a stable platform in which people can play the characters, continue their storylines, then that is the foundation. So long as the event continues, it can endure a great many things and a great many styles of play and styles of people. But I'm really excited, I'm really enthusiastic to sort of see how this new style of gameplay that the plot team has been working on is implemented. And I know they've been working in the background with it and dealing with the transition. But yeah, like moving into Sarkhan is, anyway, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm now to figure out who's gonna be my new faction soon.
Oh,
I got spoiled. I cannot speak yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, look, as a recently inducted member of the Crimson Sales Company, I would say if you're an English speaker, Crimson Sales Company is the faction for English speakers, and there is no limit to how many people who can join the Crimson Sales Company. So please come join us. Have a look at the NSC options. If you're interested in being an NSC for Conquest this year, get in. There is absolutely still some options for people to play in some NSC factions. If you want to grab a t-shirt, grab tickets to Chronicles, do that. Absolutely jump in on it. If you want to find out what's happening on RPB, stay tuned. And at the end of the week on Scald, you'll be able to find the links in the Scald gallery for all the photos from RPB. See some pictures of yourself, pictures of the environment, pictures of friends, see how cool the event was. If you want to see us back here next week talking about a new NSC faction, talking about other developments in Burgschneider, then subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications. I swear you won't see 20 notifications between now and next week.
And sorry
It might be
for
like
that.
5. We have a bunch of videos that have not been released yet that we have as backlog. We're going to put them up there for you to enjoy over the next week. This will obviously be up there, and we are going to be here again next week for another exciting episode of Burgschneider Live.